The defense rests in the trial of the Little Falls man charged with first-degree murder who killed two teenagers who broke into his house. As our Scott Sheehan tells us, the jury has heard all the evidence presented to them.
A short day 6 of the Little Falls murder trial. The defense questioned their final witnesses, and all that remains are the closing arguments. The defense finished with their hired private investigator, two neighbors whom defendant Byron Smith is staying with, and Smith's brother.
There's two dead people in this case, and I don't like that. That's a sad event. But Byron Smith has pled not guilty because he is not guilty, and we plan on talking about that in the closing argument.
The teenagers' families have remained silent, but Nick Brady's grandfather said today his family is at wreck and they trust the system to work.
Our position has always been that we're not going to say or do anything that's going to have an outcome of the trial. Let the evidence speak for itself.
The judge instructed the jury they all must agree and all must believe beyond reasonable doubt for Smith to be guilty. Smith is charged with 4 counts of murder, 2 first-degree charges, and 2 second-degree charges, 1 per teen. First-degree murder must show premeditated intent, while second-degree murder only requires intent. The judge also reviewed the self-defense and defensive dwelling clauses. Self-defense applies and there's no crime when it's done to avert death, the judgment is a reasonable threat, and it's a selection of a reasonable person. Defensive dwelling applies and there's no crime when it's done to avert a felony, such as burglary, the judgment is of a reasonable threat, and it's a selection of a reasonable person. The defense believes both cases apply in Smith's actions.
He was in his home, and I don't think you have a duty to retreat from your home. Now, if you're using self-defense outside the home, you might have a duty to retreat, even if you legitimately are defending yourself. But this is different because he's inside his house, and he's not only inside his house, he's being burglarized by 2 felons in his own home.
This isn't the first time Minnesota's castle doctrine has been tested. Minnesota had the right to retreat in your own home removed from their doctrine over a decade ago. Both sides will deliver their closing arguments tomorrow morning. In Little Falls, Scott Sheehan, Lakeland News.
The court expects both closing arguments to end before the lunch recess. The jury will be sequestered until 9 p.m. each day of deliberation.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.